Hi, and welcome back to another SolidWorks tutorial. In this video, we will model this part together. You have the top, front, and right views. You also have all the dimensions and an isometric view. Let's start with the main base. First, we create the base. Sketch a rectangle. The drawing gives us 108 by 80 millimeters. Then we extrude it to 15 millimeters. After that, we add the 10 millimeter fillets. Now let's start building the part. On the top plane, start a sketch. Use center rectangle to draw the rectangle. Now set the rectangle dimensions. Set one side to 108 millimeters and the other side to 80 millimeters. The thickness is 15 millimeters. Click Extruded Boss/Base and Extrude 15. Click OK. Now we need 10 millimeter fillets on the outer edges. Choose fillet and set the radius to 10 millimeters. Select these outer edges. Use this option to select the remaining edges automatically. Then click OK. Now let's create these two holes. There are two through holes, diameter 8 millimeters, and the spacing is 70 millimeters. Start a sketch on this face. Draw two circles. Create a center line through the middle of the part. Now we will make the two circles symmetric about that center line. Select the two circles and the center line. Then add a symmetric relation. Now set the circle diameter. Set it to 8 millimeters. Then set the distance between the two circle centers to 70. To fully define the sketch, add one more constraint. For example, make the centers horizontal with the origin. Great, the sketch is fully defined. Now use Extruded Cut and cut through all to create the two holes. Now let's model this cutout area on the top face. Start a new sketch here. Use center rectangle. Place the rectangle roughly in this area. Align the rectangle center with the origin. Add a vertical relation. Set the length to 35 millimeters. Set the width to 15 millimeters. Now we need this arc on the side. Choose three-point arc. Draw the arc like this. Use trim entities to remove the extra lines. After trimming, the sketch becomes underdefined. Drag the sketch. You can see it can still move horizontally. Select this point. Hold Ctrl and select the origin. Add a vertical relation. Now it is fixed. Now use Extruded Cut for this sketch. Set end condition to blind and set the depth to 5 millimeters. Click OK. The cutout is created. Next, we have a through hole here, diameter 10 millimeters. The center of this hole is the center of this arc. Hover the mouse on the arc to reveal its center point. Draw a circle from that center point. Use Smart Dimension and set the diameter to 10 millimeters. Now use Extruded Cut and choose through all. Now let's create the rectangular slot cut in this area. You can see a rectangular cut that goes through the part. The drawing shows the size, 15 millimeters by 5 millimeters. It also gives the position relative to this edge. Let's sketch it. Start a sketch on this face. Draw a rectangle here. Now set the rectangle dimensions. Set the length to 15 millimeters. And set the width to 5 millimeters. This slot should be centered on the part. Use Select Midpoint and align the midpoint with the origin using a vertical relation. If you did it correctly, you should see 32.5 millimeters here in the dimension. You may see an over-defined message if you add a duplicate constraint. In that case, remove the extra relation and keep only one correct constraint. Now use Extruded Cut. Choose through all to cut the slot through the full thickness. Click OK. This cut is done. Now we need to build this curved part of the model. We can create it using the boundary feature, but first we need the basic profile and guide curves. A good approach is to create the cylinder in this area first. So let's create that cylinder now. Select the right plane and start a sketch. Draw a circle here. Set the circle diameter to 25 millimeters. I'll zoom in a bit so the dimensions are clearer. The drawing gives the height from the bottom as 55 millimeters. Set that vertical distance to 55 millimeters. Now we also have a horizontal offset to this point. Set that distance to 100 millimeters. Now the circle is fully defined. Use Extruded Boss/Base to create the cylinder. The extrusion thickness is 30 millimeters. Set the end condition to mid-plane. Enter 30 millimeters, then click OK. Now we can create the Bezier cross-section profile for the boundary feature. Start a new sketch here. Create a Bezier curve like this. Now apply the dimensions from the drawing. The distance between these 2 points is 15 millimeters. Next, lock the points so the curve cannot slide. Select the points and constrain them vertically so they stay aligned. Add a vertical relation here. Now we need the small distance shown between this point and the arc. Select the point and the arc, then use Smart Dimension. At first, SolidWorks shows the distance to the arc center. But we want the minimum distance to the arc, not the center distance. In Smart Dimension, open the leader's options. In first arc condition, it is currently set to center. Change it to min to get the shortest distance. If you choose max, it gives the largest distance, but we need min. Now enter the value from the drawing. Set it to 2 millimeters. Next, add a coincident relation to attach this end of the Bezier to the reference. Now the sketch becomes fully defined. Exit the sketch. Great. The Bezier profile is ready. Now we need two arcs that are tangent to this circle. We will create these two arcs on the right plane as well. Let's create the first guide arc. Draw the first arc on this profile. Make it tangent to the circle, then set the radius to 70 millimeters. It is still underdefined because this endpoint is not connected to the Bezier profile. Select the endpoint and the Bezier point. Then add a coincident relation. Now it becomes fully defined. Press Ctrl+8 to go normal to the sketch plane. Now create the second arc using 3-point arc. Draw the second arc starting from this area. Make this arc tangent to the circle as well. Set the radius to 60 millimeters. Great. It is fully defined. Now exit the sketch. Now select the boundary feature. For direction 1, select the Bezier profile curve. For direction 2, select the two arcs as guide curves. Click OK. SolidWorks creates the boundary shape. As you can see, the geometry is created and matches the design. Now we also need a through hole here, diameter 10 millimeters. Start a sketch on this face. Draw a circle. Set the diameter to 10 millimeters. To locate the center, hover on the circle until SolidWorks shows the center point. Sometimes it takes a moment to appear. Now the center is shown. Place the circle and keep it at that center. Now use Extruded Cut. Choose through all both, so it cuts from both directions. Great. The model is almost finished. Finally, assign an appearance color to the part. Pick any color you like. Thanks for watching. See you in the next tutorial. Goodbye.